Hello and welcome back to the Artisfy Codecast. Today we're going to be going through some more of the switch.js library code and making some tests for that library. Okay, so the last time we checked in, we went through all of the code. We made sure that we understood most of what was going on. We went through just about every function, except for, or actually, no, I think we even went through when and trigger callbacks at the beginning um, of that codecast. So now we're just going to say, hey, does this work? Does this work? And we're expecting to run into a few problems at the start, but yeah, let's just see what happens. So right here in Sketch, I set up a few example designs that we can use for tests. So the idea with this design, for example, is that we're going to start with something like this. So this is like an example of a website that you might see, and it might have, one of those, three-pronged menus here. So if I can just show you an example real quick. So it might look like this, and this, and this. It would probably look a little bit nicer than this, but you get the idea. So on mobile, you might get this kind of menu in the top right. When you click it, you're going to have the sidebar expand, and you're going to have a bunch of navigation links right here, right? So we want to set up our switch.js library to, when you click this menu link, this sidebar is going to expand from the side, and it's going to have a close button in it. That's what this is. And this link here is also going to slide to the side. And then if you click this toggle or you click this close button, this sidebar is going to close. So in order to do that, I want to just set up an example page. So I have the HTML right here. You can see the site is loading. We have a black background here, and you can see our SAS file is right here with the black background set. So the first thing I want to do is let's add a page. And this is just an example page. It's not an actual page, so it's going to be like our design is just going to be like a mini page. So this is 320 by 320. Let's just make this 320 by 320. So we'll have a width, 320, height, 320 px. Let's make the background color a dark gray, so maybe like around 333. And we'll make the or actually let's make it a lighter background, sorry. So we'll make it like 888. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. Okay, we got that. Let's make it a little bit lighter actually. Okay, and let's put some padding on the body, maybe 2. And let's make this the background a little bit lighter so it's easier to see. And again, make this a little bit lighter. Okay, so now we've got this little page example. We can also, this is probably not worth it, but we'll just add a box shadow of like 3px. And like that. And then it has like a nice little shadow around it. Maybe make a little bit lighter. Okay, so now we've got a page here. Let us position this relative. I think. I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect anything, but I'm just wondering how to position this in the top right, and then when we expand the menu, pushing this over. So I guess let's pretend we're on mobile, right? So I guess if we're pretending we're on mobile, we can actually double the height because we can pretend like that's the scroll. You're going to like scroll down. No, that doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to leave it like this. Now we're going to put the close button in the top right, or not, sorry, the toggle button. So this is going to be like menu toggle, or we'll say like sidebar toggle, and then we're going to have the sidebar itself, and inside of the sidebar we're going to have a close button. And if you're wondering why these are all divs and not buttons, they should be buttons, but I'm not, I don't have like a styled library in here, so it's just easier to style divs than buttons right now. Normally you should definitely use buttons for things that trigger other things, just for accessibility. And but yeah, if you don't use buttons, you can say like, I think it's like role, you can use the role attribute, and I forget what you put there. It's like, I don't think it's role button, but it's something like that. Okay, so for the sidebar, let's do like sidebar close. So now we have these three things. Let's bring them into our Sass. And so we have the sidebar toggle. We'll say like that has a width of 30 px, a height 30 px. We want it to be a little bit darker than the background, so maybe like CCC is okay. Maybe a little bit darker. And then the sidebar, I guess, can have the same background as this. And we'll say like height equals 100%. By default, and width we'll say, we don't want to have it take up the whole screen, but we want to have it take up most of the screen, and we want it to push the sidebar toggle almost all the way to the left. We probably want the sidebar toggle to have 30 pixels on the left and 30 pixels on the right. So that gives it, 90, so 320 minus 90. If we don't want to actually like think what that is, we can just do like that. But we can also just do 230. I hope that's right. Okay, and then we have it. We can have it be. So we should use a transform translate here because that's going to animate nicer. But I think in order to get it over to the right, we're going to have it positioned absolute. And then by default, we can have it translate, and then it's like the x and then the y. So the y is going to be 0. The x is going to be, we can say 230. And the transition, we'll just say like all, and then 0.3 seconds. So if we check on this, that didn't work. Okay, so let's remove this. Oh, okay, so we want top to be 0 and right to be 0. Okay, and now let's put this back in. So now it puts it over there. So I think, so I really don't like doing this, like, yeah, a lot. I really don't like doing this. But I can't think of a quick way of not doing this. So we're just going to do overflow hidden on the page. So that moves it over there. And you saw that little flash. So like when we refresh, see it flashes. That's because it's starting in this position. So actually I think what we want is the right to be minus 230px. And then we won't have a default transform, but we will say when page has a class of, or actually, so we're using the switches. So let's do like switch turned on, tilde equals sidebar. Then, and we're attaching the widget to the page because we want it to be as high up as possible in a, in a way that makes sense, right? And for a page, for a sidebar, that's kind of like a page level thing. So if other elements on the page want to know that the sidebar is open, they can just climb right up to the page and then, be able to tell from there. And, most likely you're only going to have one sidebar on the page. So it kind of makes sense to keep it there. It's kind of a global variable thing. So things like React and Vue take care of this, in a cleaner, more like separated way. But, when you're doing things this way, you want to, I think, attach it pretty high up. So we'll say when the sidebar is switched on, we want to have the sidebar style be different. And that's when we want to do this, and it will come back to us. And the sidebar toggle is going to be position absolute. Top 30px, right 30px. So that'll put it over there. That doesn't look great. So instead we're going to put it at 10 from the top and 10 from the right. That looks better. And then when we click on that, we want to push it over the same amount. And we also want it to have a transition. So we're going to do that. And when the sidebar is active, we're going to have this same thing happen to it. Okay, so now let's do the code. So we have the switch.js code on this page. Oh no, we switch.js. So I think it's not the code. So switch.js compiles switch main, and switch main includes this switch test file, but it doesn't include the main switch library. So I'm not sure if we're even going to have that switch test file, but let's just include the switch for now. Okay, so our first error. I was actually kind of happy because I was like, oh, we didn't get any errors. Okay, time to get started. So it's saying Bling is not in the utils. So we climb up a level, right? So we should get here, and then we go into utils, and then we go into Bling, and at the bottom we're exporting these. Jeez, I'm not sure what's happening with that. So we go into switch, and we go into here, this climbs up a level, goes into utils, and tries to import thing. Okay. Well, if I comment this out, okay, wait. This is saying it's not defined in DOM utilities. Got it. Okay, that's different. Okay, so we go in DOM utilities. Okay, that's the reason. My bad. Okay, so, wait, and this can just be, like that, I think. Yeah, just like that. Okay, make stop function is not defined in parse data attributes. That's because that's not a thing. So we just want to replace it with that. Kind of find module bring in DOM utils 9. Maybe I have to have that. Okay, get attribute is not a function in parse data attributes. Okay, so let's see. It's oh geez, this is like so hard to debug. I think that if I had I think I'm not using the best debugging tools. I think there's like a thing that helps with this. Yeah, okay, we're fine, right? We are fine. Okay, so in parse data attributes, so let's, I guess, pause on exceptions and refresh. So this is for the data switches, and okay. So for the element, so attribute name is good. The key names are fine. The element is not. So we're passing in an element to this function. Oh, got it. So yeah, we didn't get rid of these tests. Okay, that makes sense. Great, and now we're loading. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll fix these tests later for the parsing tests. Yeah, I'll just move this up. Okay, so that's set. This is set. We still don't know if the code's working, but we're getting closer. So here we're going to attach data switches, and we're going to say sidebar. Here we're going to attach data switch actions, and we're going to say sidebar toggle. And here, sorry, this is going to be, so is this auto closing? With auto close. With auto close. So this is where the widget's being defined. So we could say auto, but the default is auto, so we don't need to put it on. Here we want to put data switch stop so that when we click inside of the sidebar, if it's not on the close button, it doesn't auto-close. And then here we want to put actions, and we'll put sidebar. And we could put toggle here because this is only going to be visible when the sidebar is open, so toggle will do the same thing as off, but we'll put off just to be explicit. And let's see if this works. Okay, so yeah, this is the work of it. So, oh, this is actually not bad. Okay, so, oh, but it is kind of bad. So there's something where you can, let's see, debug webpack, debugging, dev tools. I want it where the lines match up. Or wait, no, it shouldn't be. So in development, it shouldn't be. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a way of linking back compiled JS line matches. I don't know, something like that. It's where the lines of code of your like uncompiled source code match up to the Webpack development line numbers. Source maps. Okay. Web source maps. I don't know why I never go to the official documentation. Okay, this option controls if and how source maps are generated. Dev tool. I don't know, this kind of seems like you can just say dev tool true and it will maybe work. I don't have the patience for reading such crazy documentation, and I feel like this stuff should be super simple. I should probably take the time to learn, though. I don't know, let's just try it. Dev tool. That would probably not work. Nope. I don't think it worked. Whatever, I'm gonna just debug it like this. Okay, so where did we stop? Object is not a function. So get actions data. So we're in get actions data, and it's saying, I think it's saying this is not, This is so hard to debug. Okay, so let's see. The accumulator is this. The action element is the sidebar toggle. Does this, I mean, this must match, right? Because we're on this line. Okay. Yeah, it's not public. Parse. So maybe this is a problem. Maybe because I'm doing like A equals A in cat. Oops. No. Okay, so parse switch action attributes. Let's refresh this. This is undefined. What about this one? That's undefined too. Jeez. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. No, that works. Okay, so okay, let's undo this stuff. So parse switch data attributes. Jeez, that's awful. Okay, well, should. Good, we got further. We're further along. Okay, so now we're processing the actions. We have the unfiltered actions. Unfiltered actions is not defined. Ooh, jeez. Unfiltered. I don't understand how this can be defined if this isn't. Okay, well let's see. Is already processed. Is already processed, so that's false. So this is going to return true, and then we get to the action type. Oh, the reason is because we want that to say unfiltered action instead. Okay, so action type, and this should be like that instead. Click, and again, click. Okay. The string is null. Okay, so let's look at format spaces. Wait. Where is format spaces? Format spaces is in this function. Okay, so let's console log this. We got sidebar toggle, sidebar, and null. String, okay. Put that there, and where am I calling this from? That's here, so let's console log the element. Okay. So this page is giving us null. Why are we trying to do it twice? Okay, so let's also console log the attribute name here. So with the last one, we're trying to parse out data switched on. And does that make sense? So we're looking for data switched on, and I think that's because we've reached the auto deactivate step. Or automatically turn off. Auto off. Let's do that. Nope, we didn't. Okay. So why are we looking for the data switched on attribute? We're seeing if it's on. Oh, that makes sense, because we're trying to turn it on. Oh, wait. Yeah, we're trying to turn it on, and is off calls is on. Console log. Turn on. Okay. Yep, so this happens right before this is called. So I'm pretty sure this is the culprit, and is, no, because we're not parsing this, sorry. We're not parsing this here. Okay, so let's keep looking for data switched on. Or no, we could just look for, we shouldn't be looking for data switched on, we should be looking for this one. Get turned on switch names from element. Okay, so that's the one we want to look for. Oh, turn on does call it. Okay. And turn off calls it too. Then automatically turn off calls it too. Okay, so I think this is our culprit. We're trying to get the turn on switch names from this, and that is looking for an attribute on this that doesn't exist. Okay, so console log. Let's just search for these. Okay. I think we're good now. I think we removed them. Not positive. Okay. Cool. Oh yeah, we should remove this. Okay, so what should happen if I call this parse function on an element? So the idea is that all I have to do is pass in an element, and it's going to know the attribute to look for if the attribute doesn't exist. So what happens right now if I have an element and I just say get attribute x? It gives me null. Okay, so so I think it should probably return like null or undefined. Probably null. So what I could do is just say, okay, if there's no attribute string, then return null. But it's expecting an object, and I think an empty object would be a nicer thing to return. And then, so let's see if it would work in this case. So we have the, we're trying to turn on, so we're getting the switch names. Get turned on switch names from element, which is parsing these, mapping over these. So this would return so the parse function just returns an object. This is like totally useless to me now. It's like test code. It's old. So I don't know what to expect. So no, it returns an array of objects because I'm mapping over this. I'm returning that, and then I just like randomly return this thing after that just to confuse me. Got it. Okay, cool. So this is an array, and this is an array because when I parse this, it's giving me back an array of arrays. Okay, awesome. So what this should really do is return this. Really not sure about that. So if we if we parse this, it's going to return that instead. We're going to map over the object and give it the name, which in this case would be undefined. Awful, awful, awful. Okay, so then we would get return on switch names, and this would just be an array with undefined in it. And then we push something into it. So I think actually the safer thing to do is just return an empty array. Because the fact it's saying what it expects to get, right? It's saying give me objects representing the separate parameters in a parsed string. And you're saying there were none, so we're just going to give you an empty list. So yeah, so I'm just going to look through real quick. Parse, switch. So like here, all switches from turned on element, switch element. If we just return an empty array there, then this is going to filter through nothing, so it's going to be an empty array. That seems like pretty safe, right? Because, you know, this is going to be an empty array, the for each isn't going to loop, right? So I think returning the array is like, the empty array is pretty safe. For the get actions data, if we parse the action attributes and we get back an empty array and we concat an empty array onto another empty array, it's not, or onto like an existing array, it's not going to do anything, it's not going to add any items, so that's pretty safe. Yeah, I think that's as safe as it's going to get. If there's no attribute string, just return an empty array. Okay, now let's refresh. Oh, geez. Oh. Huh. Yeah, is not found. Okay, so I added that random bit of code down here as an example. Okay, cool. We click. Oh, we clicked and nothing happened. That's awesome. I mean, it's progress, I guess. Okay, so let's look in here. Whoa. Dude, it works. So the sidebar. Okay, so let's do document query selector, and let's do data switched on. That returns that. And what if we do the tilde equals sidebar? Okay, so maybe there was a mistake in the SAS I wrote. Yeah, data. Ay. Oh, you're probably yelling at me right now. Whoa, cool. Let's make this have a cursor, a pointer, and hover style. Of I guess darker. So 0, 9, 8, 98. And it's the transition is on all. Let's just make it on trans. Okay, nice. That is pretty cool, right? So that's our first test for this. And if we click out here, it doesn't collapse. If we click in here, it doesn't collapse. And that's because we have the. No, I think it should collapse. So if we, let's see, what happens if we put auto here? Yeah, I mean auto should be default. So we need to figure out what's going on with that. And this close button, sidebar close button, let's style that real quick. So it's gonna be very similar to this one. It's gonna be, I think, a little bit darker. A98876. I think that's about right. It's like one of those optical illusions where they look like they're the same color. Yeah. Okay. and that closes it. Clicking out anywhere else doesn't close it, and I'm not sure why. I'm gonna look into that really quickly. So it's turned on right now. We can continue there. It's not paused, right? Okay, so we click process switches is an empty array. Turned on. Okay, so let's go through this. So we have the turned on switch elements is the page. Oh jeez. Okay. Continue. Click out. Let's actually put the debugger down here. Okay. Refresh. Click. Click. Okay. So now we've got the switch element. We get the turned on switch names, which is sidebar. We get all the switches from the turned on element, which is just a name of sidebar. Okay, let's so we can step and step into. Okay, so now for the switch object, which is sidebar, turn on switch names includes sidebar. So this should return false, because without the exclamation point it should be true. Okay, so we should skip over that. Okay. If switch object dot auto equals no auto, return false. So we should skip over that because it's undefined. And switch has been processed. So let's copy this. So processed switches is an empty array. And if you call this function just fine. So it returns undefined if it's not found. Okay, so, but if undefined, so if this is undefined, this shouldn't return, so just skip over it. I am not returning true to keep it if none of these things happen. Got it. Boom. Oh, boom, boom. Click outside. Okay. So is on. Okay, let's see when this is happening first. So we click here, then we click out. Okay, that's when it's happening, when we're clicking out. So we're clicking on something else. So this is saying cannot read matches of undefined. So we're passing switch name of sidebar and an empty element. So where are we calling is on? I think it has to be somewhere. Okay, well let's just look. So it's in toggle. It's in is off. It's in turn off. Okay. So I think it's turn off that's activating it, because that's what we're, that's what we're doing here. And the switch object that we're passing in is an object with a name of sidebar. So if we look here, we're saying is on, we're passing in the name, but we're not passing in the element. And we have the element right here. So we can do switch object equals that. Jeez. That's not my favorite. I think that my favorite would be if this took a name, an element, a custom name, and that's it. And like all it really needs is the name and the element. Yeah. But this is fun for now. Okay, so let's refresh, open, close, that works. Oh, that's so nice. Okay, wait. Did it not work again? So, switch. We have a data switch stop on the sidebar. So that should be filtering out geez. I might have to continue this tomorrow because it's getting a little complicated. I'm glad that we've gotten so far in terms of it working. Let me look real quick. So with the automatically turn off other switches, I think that's what's happening. It's not getting any process switches, right? Is that true? I think that's true. If I go here, continue, no, why would that happen? Okay. Okay, so if we do that and then I click right here, it should have a process switch, but it doesn't. Because it should have gotten the element I clicked on, which was this element, right? I just clicked on this element. You can see it highlighted blue. That's where I clicked. And that has a data-switch stop on it. So data-switch stop. And I get those here. So I want to know, so let's remove this, let's remove this debugger. And let's get actions data. So I want to console log the unfiltered actions. Okay. So here, I don't care about them, but here, right there, what are they? Name sidebar, element, div sidebar. Ooh, okay. Processed switches, target switches. Got it. Got it. So I'm only adding the actions to trigger, the elements that are affected by the action to trigger. I'm only adding those switch elements to the process switches, whereas I need to be adding all of the unfiltered ones too. And what surprises me a little bit here is that I have the element, because right? So I thought that, let's clear this again. If I click this, yeah, so I still have the element. And I thought the reason I was doing it down here is because I needed the element. But if I, let's see, let's go into get actions data. Oh, okay. So I need the oh geez. So this, if I clear this, I click on here, this is giving me the sidebar element, and the action is stop, I believe. But if I click this, that is the trigger element. This is also the trigger stop element. So it's giving me the trigger. And if I go down here, what I want to be checking with this one is that the actual switch has been turned on or turned off. And the reason I want to do that is because I have that context argument. And so there might be two different switches with the same name, but only one of them gets triggered because, it's the one whose context was affected. And so I want to only prevent the auto turnoff on that element. I don't want to prevent the auto turnoff on the other element. So that's why I'm matching on the name and the element here, and I'm doing it on the switch. And I'm not doing it on the trigger or based on the name. So I have an option here, which is kind of the easy way out, which is that, let me just think through it, because I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not yet. So there is this stop element, and the idea is that if I click in that stop area, okay, so like there's a trigger, there's a stop area around it. If I click in that stop area, or sorry, let's say there's a trigger around the stop area. If I click in the stop area inside of it, that trigger is not going to fire. So what I could do is that I could have it's like so hard to even figure out what I'm doing anymore. Okay, so I'm trying to make it so if the stop element is clicked, it prevents the switch from auto switching off, from auto turning off. And I don't want it to prevent it from auto turning off if that switch has been affected by this click already. And that's kind of like my like, by saying it's been affected already, either it's been turned off, or it's been turned on, or it's been stopped. So I'm saying, okay, if you've been turned on, turned off, or stopped, I'm not going to worry about you when I'm auto turning off everything. And what I'm saying with this code, or trying to say with this code, is that if I've only affected you this time through, I've only, turned, I want to be exact about which ones I've turned on and turned off. And I haven't actually turned on or turned off a switch if it wasn't in the right context, which is what this is supposed to give me. But it doesn't cover the stops. I'm not including the stop actions. And stop actions don't have a context. So I guess the question is, should I include them no matter what, and just match them on their name? And I think the answer is yes. So if I go back up here, where do I have access to the stop actions? And they're in here, and they're not in here, because after I process the actions, the whole point is to remove the stop actions. So I could return them from this function, or I could return them from this function. Or what I could do is just say, if I click on, so I want to know if I click on what is the case I'm trying to allow for with the exact match, right? So if I turn this, I'm sorry to go through this again, I know I've gone through this before. So if I turn this one on using the context, and this one is already on, then when I click elsewhere, I want, it's so confusing. Okay, so one more time. So what happens if I just use these unfiltered actions as the things that filter out the auto off call? So instead of matching on the name and the element, all I do is match on the name of the switch. So I say, okay, if this switch has been turned on, this turn, if it's been turned on, turned off, whatever, toggled, right, which is like either turned on or turned off, but really what we care about is turned on. So if it's been turned on this turn, or it's been stopped this turn, this switch name, then we're not going to automatically turn it off. And so stops shouldn't have a context, right? So so the problem with that is not the stop. The problem with that is that if I don't even know the case that this would cover, right? If I turn a switch on by clicking something, and it also triggers another switch just happens to be on. So I trigger this one happens to be on. They have the same name. I want to prevent this one from turning off automatically because it's been turned on this turn. But just because this one has the same name, I don't want to prevent it from turning off just because it has the same name as this one, because this one was activated using the context. So I guess, what if I have two switches with context, and I click this trigger to turn this one on, and this one's already open, but it should auto close when another one's opened. So this example is just an accordion, right? So this is open, this is closed, and I click to open it. I don't want to just add the switch name to the processed items, because if I do that, it's going to check this one, and it's going to say, okay, don't close this one because it was just turned on, but this one also don't close it because it was just turned on, because I'm just checking for the name. So that's the problem. The problem is accordions. Okay, so I do want to match on the name and the element in the case of actions. But um, let's search for processed switches and rename it to, we could call it like triggered switches. So triggered switches, and then we also want to pass in, the stopped ones. So get actions data. We could do it here, or we could do it in the process actions. So let's do like stop actions. And we'll put that here. And we'll return that there. And so now we have this, and now we have this stop actions here. And we're going to just match on the name for this. And it works. Awesome. It's not my favorite. This function is getting a little out of hand. This is like a lot of loops, a lot of checking. Feels a little bit crazy. I'm going to put this on one line. Just because, yeah, I think it's fine on one line. It's like it's not a complicated check. And it just saves saves like the thinking time. So yeah, this is just easier to read. Okay, and we still work. Okay. Okay, so that's our first test. That's pretty cool. I'm glad you stayed with me the whole time if you did, and thank you for watching. This was a lot of fun. If you have any ideas about how to write the code better, I would love to hear about your ideas, and maybe we can work together on a better solution for this. For now, um, I'm going to be satisfied with this simple test that we did. We got the library working, how we expect, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a pretty simple example. Next time we're going to go through more examples and um, and tests, for this library to make sure it's working okay. And yeah, I think we made some great progress today. So thank you, and I will see you next time.